Welcome to the Buley Library Research Basics tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn how to navigate the library homepage to find books, articles, journals, media, and other resources in the library, how to request materials that we do not have from another library, how to evaluate information sources in print and on the web, how to cite information correctly, and where to get additional help. Here is the layout of the library. On the ground floor is where we have all of our periodicals. This would include magazines, journals, newspapers, in print, and on microfilm and microfiche. If you don't know how to use microfilm or microfiche, you can get help at the ground floor information desk. Our thesis collection is also on this floor. On the first floor, which is the main floor of Buley Library, we have the reference books. Reference books, such as subject encyclopedias, are excellent for background information on a topic. Reference books have REF in the call number on the spine and do not circulate. However, we have two scanners on this floor, so you can scan pages from books to print, email, or download to a flash drive. Other collections on this floor include the map collection and the media collection consisting of videos, DVDs, and music CDs, and the leisure reading collection, which is shelved at the entrance to the library. On the second floor, we have the circulating collection. These are books that can be checked out. When you search the catalog for books and see the word stacks under location, that means the book is in the circulating collection. Books with call numbers A through PN are on the second floor. Books with call numbers PN through Z are on the third floor. The third floor also contains children's books and the oversized collection, which consists of books that are too large to fit on the regular shelves. The curriculum lab collection, which consists of instructional materials for teachers and those studying to be teachers. The special collections and archives office is also located on this floor. Here is the address for the Buley Library homepage. You can search for books, DVDs, ebooks, etc. by doing a quick search in the Consul's Library Catalog. Consul's is an acronym for the Connecticut State University Library System and displays the holdings of all 4 state universities, Central, Eastern, Southern, and Western, as well as the Connecticut State Library. You can search Consul's by keyword, which is the default. But if you use the pull-down menu, you can search by author, title, subject, ISBN, International Standard Book Number, which is usually assigned to every book that is published, or ISSN, which is the International Standard Serial Number, which is usually assigned to every journal that is published. Books are arranged by the Library of Congress call number. The Library of Congress call number system is a unique combination of letters and numbers assigned to every book that is catalogued in the library. The call number appears on the spine label of the book and helps to identify the book on the shelf. The initial letter of the call number stands for a major subject area, and the letters and numbers that follow stand for subtopics within that major subject area. So all books on a subject are grouped together in the stacks. In this example, the first part of the call number represents initial libraries by name, in this case the Library of Congress. G86 stands for the author's last name, and 1981 is the year in which the book was published. Use subject search to find information on a broad topic. In a subject search, only the subject or descriptor field of the record is searched. So subject searches are more focused and have a high degree of relevancy. The number of items retrieved is fewer than those retrieved in keyword searches. When there's no subject term for your search, try a keyword search. In this example, I searched for the term cloning by subject. The word cloning appears in the title, but it also appears in the subject. So whenever you do a subject search, you will find that your search term always appears in the subject field. A keyword search uses natural language search terms. Keyword searches retrieve many records because the computer searches all fields such as the title, table of contents, subject, etc. for the search terms entered. So keyword searches can retrieve irrelevant records, as in this example. Although we did a search for cloning, we retrieved a book on art. That's because the word cloning appears in the table of contents. You can request items that are available at another CSU library by selecting Request, which appears next to each title. This first book is available at Western, and you can click on Request and follow the directions on the screen to have the book sent here to SCSU, and you can pick it up at the circulation desk. You will be notified by email when the book gets here. Reference books, books that are available at our library, and books at the state library cannot be requested online. The advanced search screen allows you to limit your search by location, by relevance or title, by material type, which is the format, by language, and by year. When you do a keyword search, combine your main search terms with and, or not to give your search focus. Do not use phrase words in a search. If you need to search for an exact phrase, type the phrase within quotations. Look at the subject headings in your results list to see what search terms are being used if you're unsure what the exact search term for your topic is. The AND operator retrieves records in which all search terms are present. In this example, all records that contain liberal education and success will be searched. When you combine both terms with AND, you get fewer results. The blue circle represents the term liberal education, and the pink circle represents the term success. And when you combine these two, you get very few results. AND can be used more than once in a search. The more terms or concepts combined using AND, the fewer the records retrieved. The OR operator retrieves records that contain at least one of the search terms. In this example, the search will retrieve records with the term liberal education or the term higher education or both. OR is most commonly used with synonyms. Now this circle represents liberal education and this represents higher education. And when you combine the two terms with OR, we get many more results. It's a good idea to think of different synonyms for your search terms while planning your search strategy. OR, like AND, can be used more than once in a search. The more terms or concepts combined using OR, the more records will be retrieved. Not excludes search terms from a search. It forbids the word or words after it from appearing in a search. In this example, only the term college is searched. The word school is excluded. Parentheses are sometimes used to group words for more complex and focused searches. In this example, we're actually doing two searches, higher education and success or higher education and failure. And we do this by grouping success or failure within parentheses. Click on Journals by title on the library homepage to see if the library has the periodical you need. The Journals page will let you know if the periodical is available in print, microfilm, microfiche, or full text through the databases. If the library does not have the periodical you need, you can request it through interlibrary loan, and this service is free. Interlibrary loan forms are available online. On the library homepage, click on Library Services, and that will bring up a menu, and you can select Interlibrary Loan from that menu. You will need to log in with your username and password to access the forms. First-time users will be asked to fill out a form with personal information, so we may have your profile on file. To find periodical articles, you must search a database or databases. Databases provide summaries or full text of periodical articles. Please note that you cannot search the library catalog to find journal articles. You must search the databases. To access databases, click on the Articles tab on the library homepage, and on the Articles page, select All Databases. All our databases appear in alphabetical order as well as by subject. To access the newspaper databases, click on the Newspapers tab. To access our ebooks, click on the eBook Collections tab. If you'd like to know which databases are good for your discipline, click on By Subject. When you click on By Subject, you will get all of the departments on campus, and you can select yours from that list. If you'd like to know which databases are good for English, click on the Literature tab, and that'll bring up all of the English databases. Databases listed under General and Multidisciplinary are very good starting points for research in any subject. Databases, not the internet, should be the first stop for any academic research assignment. Information in databases goes through a review process before it is published in print or electronic format, and is therefore more accurate and reliable. Why not use the internet? You may use the internet for browsing or getting acquainted with your topic, for finding leisure or entertainment-related information, directory information, current news, or basic consumer information. But use the library databases to find quality information for your research papers. Search engines may sometimes bring up sites that are not credible. The information does not go through a review process and needs to be evaluated, or sometimes the page may not be updated. What are scholarly or peer-reviewed articles? These are articles written by a scholar or researcher in the field. The language is that of the discipline covered and usually requires the reader to have some knowledge of the subject. These articles usually cite sources in the form of bibliographies. They may contain graphs or charts and are often published by a specific organization. In most databases, you will be able to limit your search to scholarly or peer-reviewed journals if your teacher requires research articles on your topic. If you don't know how to do this, you can check with the librarian. Here are some examples of scholarly journal titles. And notice that the word journal does not have to appear in the title of a scholarly or research journal. Popular periodicals are written for a general audience, and so the articles are of general interest and contain illustrations or photographs. They generally do not cite sources and are published by commercial enterprises or an individual, though some may be published by a professional organization. Examples of popular periodical titles are Ebony, Newsweek, Rolling Stone, and other such magazines that you see in the newsstand. To evaluate information in print and on the web, you will need to apply the CRAP test. CRAP is an acronym for Currency, Reliability, Authority, and Purpose or Point of View. The video that follows will help to explain the CRAP test. Librarians at Buley have created various help guides, and these can be accessed from the Buley Library homepage. Under How To, you will learn how to borrow and renew books and how to access course reserves. If you click on the Research at Buley tab and then select Research Guides, you will find additional guides on Google Scholar, database tutorials, citation help, peer-reviewed articles, primary and secondary sources, and much more. Thank you for taking this tutorial. If you need additional help, you can go to the reference desk on the main floor of the library for help during normal reference hours, or you may schedule an individual appointment with your subject librarian by selecting the Library Services tab and then clicking on One-on-One Instruction. Fill in the form and submit. Or you can ask us a question, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter by using the relevant icons at the bottom of the Buley Library homepage.